It's high top sports, baby.
Let's get it. Let's go. Good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Happy Saturday night to all of you boys and girls out there. John Sumrall is a cooking. A crystal ball has already came through for Johnny and the boys on their first major recruiting week, and we're going to talk about that. We've got ourselves an insider joining us today. Cam Parker from Sports Illustrated going to talk to us about our first interview, I would say, with Coach John Sumrall. He spoke to why they're not wearing any logos. Some other great questions, I'm sure, that were asked that we haven't heard about. We're going to get boots on the ground. Our guy Cam is literally at the basketball game still, right court side. I love it. My man Cam, how you doing, big guy? Good to see you, bud.
I mean, we'd probably be doing a little bit better if they beat Auburn, but
yeah,
good game nonetheless. And our sister site for our branch of On SI is the Auburn site, so I kind of win no matter what. So I'll take it. But yeah, good game, busy weekend with recruiting, and Sumrall, his first, I would say, public appearance, not including the press conference over a month ago. So, you know, he was in the student section for a little bit. His family was sitting courtside, and they were getting into it. I saw Sumrall point at the officials a couple times, kind of like, what are you doing? And his daughters were jumping up and down, so they were getting real into it. So, and then of course, you know, I think everyone, first off, heard the press conference a month ago. Even, you know, the day before when it was announced he got hired, people started watching Tulane press conferences and were impressed by what he said. And that's kind of the same today. We only got him for about 10 minutes, but you feel the juice and energy with that guy in just 10 minutes of talking with him. He's not going to beat around the bush. He says what he means. So it's after 4 years of the other guy, I could say it's a little refreshing 2 press conferences in with this guy. But again, games have yet to be played, so I understand why people are wary. But hey, he knows how to win press conferences. I can tell you that much.
Yeah, like I said it the other day, and I'm kind of tired of. I want to get past this of like, hey, like we understand. Look, we know it's the middle of January, right? We've got to start being able to just compare it from January to January, February to February. I understand games have to be played. We can't play them, right? And so let's focus on that. I love hearing the energy seems to be consistent. Obviously, there's a big recruiting weekend going on right now, which we'll get into here in just a minute. But obviously, a lot of questions were asked during this 10-minute time period. The biggest one being that I felt that came from that was the no logos. Let's talk about that for a minute.
Yeah, and it's you know, an Urban Meyer thing. He said that he didn't know it was an Urban Meyer thing, but of course, you know, he's got Phil Trotwine on staff, and Urban was very big in him getting hired. So, you know, maybe there was some inspiration that he didn't quite realize. But yeah, it's if you've seen any of the brief workout clips, they're in uniforms with just their names. And he was asked, you know, why no logos on the workout uniforms? He said, because they haven't earned a damn thing yet. The quote was, gotta earn it, gotta earn the logo. We ain't earned it yet. We haven't earned a damn thing. All we've got is our name. And when are you going to put your freaking name on every day? So wear the Florida Gator logo. You got to earn that. And, you know, he just said, I want to see them work their ass off. Those were the 2 main quotes about that they haven't earned a damn thing and they got to work their ass off. And so, you know, I like it. I like, again, you could feel the energy with him that he means it. He's not just talking about it. I think the players are responding to that a little bit. It's kind of, again, bringing the old school Florida back. You know, we heard the comparisons with Urban Meyer being back on campus, having a big reason into Sumrall being the next head coach. And now you see those comparisons too, and that's pretty cool to see.
Yeah, you wonder too, because we've heard about the Urban stories too, and Harris has alluded to this, that, you know, you respected Urban, but you kind of hated him while he was your coach, you know what I mean? Just because of the intensity that he brought. It's going to be interesting to hear. I don't think any coach or any players ever going to say they hate their head coach right now. Obviously, all these players say after the fact. But I wonder if with this humility, how those players are feeling right now. What were some other things during this 10-minute gathering that stood out to you from Sumrall, and maybe some of the questions that were asked and the answers that he gave?
Yeah, so again, you know, just a brief overview of what we talked about. The 5 guys that they retained: Jaden Baugh, Miles Ram, Jaden Woods, Vernell Brown, and Dallas Wilson. The cool thing about that was he gave us some insight into that Christmas Eve home meeting in Atlanta with Jaden Baugh and his family. And we had all heard that it was, you know, Sumrall, the new running backs coach, and Buster Faulkner he told us it was actually his entire family was there with him. He brought his kids and his wife up to Jaden Ball's house. He said his mom's dog was with them too. So it was a full-out Sumrall recruiting process where they all went up. And again, you know, the one thing that I think everyone heard about that was the Ball family loved the intentionality behind Sumrall's recruiting, re-recruiting of Jaden Ball, that they really appreciated the effort that went into it, that they made it a personal goal of theirs, not just because Jaden Ball was a 1,200-yard rusher and a really good player, but that they wanted him there for a reason outside of football as well. And they felt that in those visits, and then Sumrall being talking about that hey, his family went up with him to Atlanta on Christmas Eve. I wouldn't want to go up on Christmas Eve to Atlanta and spend that with my dad when he tries to re-recruit a player. I would want to be at my house watching a Christmas movie, but his family's up there doing that with him, and I think that that's really cool to hear about too. You know, he talked about the process with Jaden Woods too, that he's never really re-recruited a player of his that entered the portal, and it was a bit of a process. You know, it was a little shaky at times because, you know, he took that Texas visit, but he said, we survived the Texas visit. And we went out there and we were able to work it out. And, you know, to have him back is a big deal. And, he, you know, again, he praised his family, praised his dad, his grandparents. He said, so for me being new, those visits, they were a little anxiety-filled because you don't know what's going to happen. I really felt fortunate to go sit in their houses because a lot of these guys I didn't recruit out of high school. So to be in their homes and eat a dinner with them or eat a breakfast with them felt like recruiting a guy in high school all over. And
Wow.
He's grateful that those guys stayed. You know, Vernell Brown and Miles Graham were a little bit easier because they're legacies, and I don't think anyone was really expecting them to enter the portal.
Yeah.
Dallas Wilson was a little bit interesting, kind of the same thing with the re-recruiting a guy who is not in the portal, but you still have to go after him. But going 5 for 5 on your top 5 players before you've even coached a game is a big deal. And Jaden Ball was at the basketball game tonight with Aaron Philo too. So, you know, they were both at the Florida Victorious event as well. So, you know, not only are they retaining the guys, but you can still see that there's an investment into the program with those guys as well.
That I love hearing that about Jaden Woods, and again, the I would say the transparency from Sumrall speaking to the anxiety that he felt during these visits of like I got a lot to overcome here because like he said, I didn't recruit these guys out of high school, and I've got to go in and act like I've coached him and probably been best friends with him for the last, you know, a year and a half, and I haven't. I don't have any of that. To say you survived the Texas visit, which obviously was a big one, we were all concerned about it. When he went to Texas and we heard of the meeting and the opportunity that Sumrall was still going to have a chance to talk to him, I thought that was huge. And obviously, I don't know what conversation transpired between him and Texas, but not enough to convey him to feel a certain way. And I love it. There's a nice trend happening with Sumrall that if he chooses to, you know, wheels up, fly to your house and drop a family visit, you're going to be a Gator. That's kind of the mentality that he's bringing right now. And that part I do like a lot. We got a big weekend happening also this weekend with recruiting, and his first crystal ball is coming through with Amir Nugent, I believe is how it's pronounced. I'm going to say top 150 recruit kind of overall. He's 170 on Rivals, 104 on 247. Cornerback 6 foot, 170 pounds out of South Florida. And this credit obviously falls on Brandon Harris, our new quarterback coach that we snatched away from FSU. And the buzz right now from what I've seen online, from what you were telling me beforehand, it's night and day different from what it was. Obviously, we always heard great things, but it's the amount of star power that's on campus right now, right?
Yeah, I mean, you know, 2 5-star offensive linemen on campus this weekend. You know, Phil Trotwine wasn't just brought back because he was an alum. He's one of the best offensive line coaches in the country. He's a heck of a recruiter, heck of a developer, and, you know, full steam ahead. They are not hesitating to go after top guys. And it's kind of echoing Sumrall's statement when he got hired that I want to win tomorrow. Well, you can't win any games right now because they're not being played till August. So what can you win right now? That's win over the fan base, win over the boosters, and win in recruiting. And so, you know, no commits yet. Obviously the crystal ball for Nugent, but I expect some soon. You know, they're hitting the ball out of the park with these visits. You know, Brandon Harris, I think that's a big deal too, that This is a guy, when Sumrall brought in, everyone was kind of like, okay, UCF corners coach, not really a whole lot of experience. He was being, heavily targeted by FSU. FSU's kind of a mess right now. Do we really want to be taking coaches from FSU? And he's about to land the first commit of the 2027 cycle, and that's a big deal considering his ties to South Florida as well. He's Treon Harris's brother. So, you kind of get those ties as well, but you're starting to see those come into effect too. So, no games have been played, but you can only take out what's in front of you, and what's in front of you is they're going all at it with what they can do right now, and you're starting to see some good early rewards.
Yeah, and again, the class you could argue is a tad bit behind. Typically you like to have 1, 2, even 3. At this point in the cycle, I don't feel like we're dead in the water. I would say this time last year, I think Florida's only commit was Jalen Wiggins and maybe Carson Baker, if I'm not mistaken. So it wasn't like, and Will Griffin, of course, which was the kind of the anchor to that class with your quarterback. But outside of that, it wasn't really too loud. So that quarterback is probably going to be their next big target, I would say, because obviously having your quarterback into a class is always going to be huge. But they seem to have an agenda, and that agenda seems to be offensive line. Max Heiler, is it Hiller or Heiler, is there now? And Hiller spoke very positively about his visit and just the difference, the intensity of, compared to what it was before. I mean, he was very vocal about just the change in it. I think Florida fans, we've talked about this. It's going to see, we love hearing the buzz. We've heard it before, right? And something that we even said on the show, Napier came in and that staff was always known for the recruiting. And I think more so in relationship because I think we hit one top 10 class with Napier while he was here. But when we were concerned on this staff coming in, it didn't have necessarily the resume from a recruiting standpoint. But I think the mentality that this staff has is a much different process. You were speaking about that before the show about how quickly they're getting these top talent guys versus where Napier had a process and he felt like, I'm going to go do it this way. This is how it's going to work. Where John's like, no, we're we're having 15 dudes here. All 15 are going to be top 150 guys, and we're going to land 3 of them. Like, that needs to be the mindset.
And a lot of credit, too, he didn't come in and blow everything up, right? When Billy Napier came in, he kind of had to blow everything up because Dan Mullen's stuff. Oh, this guy, greatest boss in the world. Just all around great guy. But Billy Napier kind of had to come in and blow everything up because the Dan Mullen side of it was so unorganized and, they weren't prepared for stuff. And, there were horror stories of guys showing up for visits or camps and Florida was like, you're not on the registration list. And they were like, oh, I did get registered. Here's my email. And they go, oh, well, we just didn't put you on the list. That's our mistake. Let's figure this out. And, for Billy, it was a little bit more organized. Katie Turner coming in from Georgia was a big deal. But for Sumrall, most head coaches, you see it at Auburn right now, too, with Alex Golesh. They've blown everything up and restarted. Sumrall didn't do that. He came in and he goes, here's what's working here that I'm going to keep. And that's Katie Turner, Joe Hamilton, guys like Chad Lucas, David Decker, like guys who have already built relationships with recruits in the 2027 and 2028 class. They're still here. They're still carrying over those relationships, and that's allowing them to combine the existing relationships to new guys like Phil Trotwine and Brandon Harris and Buster Faulkner and Brad White, like guys who also have pre-existing relationships at other stops with top recruits. Now you're kind of combining it all. And that's a smart thing for him to do, that he saw what worked here and what wasn't working here. He changed the stuff that wasn't working. We'll see if it does work. But he's keeping the things that he saw what was right, and that was kind of the bodies in the recruiting department. We'll see if the execution change. We'll see if they can get into that top 5. But the people that made their jobs worth it and made it count and were very effective at getting top guys in the building are still here in Gainesville, and that's a big deal.
Yeah, Decker's a huge one. He got a lot of compliments during his time here as assistant wide receiver coach, right? Got a lot of credit. He received a package from DK, and he's also married to Katie Turner, if I'm not mistaken. So it's a nice little duo that you want to be able to keep. And I think a lot of us are wondering if Decker would stay on staff because of how everybody was basically executed when Sumrall got here. And I think you make a good point where we were very critical of things that Napier when he left, but something we would kind of beat at the drum on is like the talent that's here. If you can retain the good pieces, which I think he did an exceptional job of retaining those pieces, you can kind of be in good shape, right? When we were talking about Lane taking this thing over, that's what we were looking at. It's like, look, there's a lot of pieces here. You go get some other pieces to fill in this thing. You got something. And Sumrall did exactly those things. Maybe he didn't get as aggressive in the portal as what others would have liked, but also retained a lot more than probably what anybody else would have kept as well. And 100% spot on. This recruiting staff has done a great job of always getting top talent. Now, we didn't have top offensive linemen, right? I mean, us having 2 5-stars in 1 weekend is nuts. That's unheard of. The amount of pictures I've seen with Troutwine and offensive linemen is unbelievable. I didn't realize that offensive linemen coaches had cameras. I didn't think that was a thing, that they could actually take photos and post them. So that's very refreshing. But whatever they targeted, it felt like they did a great job of getting them on campus. The problem was, like you said, closing and executing the deal. I mean, how many times we had Colin Simmons, Xavier Philson, we had top guys on campus and visiting, but that was as far as it went. They just kind of came in and said, "Hey, how you doing? Thanks for the $100,000. I'm out this bad boy." And look, it's still unknown in the Sumrall era. We're 100% aware of that. But I think the reason why there is a lot of buzz and excitement right now, as there should be, was given the fact of the resume being quiet from a recruiting standpoint, having them there this early on. I'm talking monsters, right? I mean, you're talking the number 1 and number 2 of their position. And not to mention, I think Mark Matthews, right, the other tackle, the number 1 tackle, is he not visiting this weekend? I thought he was.
I think it's the same. Him and Hiller are visiting this weekend. I mean,
then there's
Sumrall
one
said
more.
50
So
guys
there's
on
3
campus
5-stars.
today. Yeah.
There's 3 5-stars then. There was another one that we spoke about the other night. It was that wasn't Matt. That wasn't because he's currently favored to Miami. I think there's one more. If that's the case,
yeah.
You land one of them, you're batting 33%, right? 300%. I mean, you're a Hall of Famer, okay? So
well,
that's
the funny thing is, Florida hasn't landed a 5-star offensive lineman traditionally out of the regular high school recruiting rankings since, I think, Martez Ivy in 2015. Now, granted,
Zamadella was
Jason
a 5-star. Yeah,
he was a 5-star, but he was a transfer portal guy, so that doesn't fully count, even though he never took a snap at USC. But you could also say too, Florida lost on that battle to begin with, and then had to get him out of the transfer portal. So I think it's really interesting. And you mentioned the transfer portal too, that Sumrall maybe wasn't as aggressive, or maybe he was aggressive but didn't land as many of the guys. And there's a 2-part thing that I have to say about that. One, results help in the transfer portal. You start winning, that's how you get guys in the transfer portal.
Sure.
Winning solves every problem. You win football games, you get higher NIL, you get more boosters. That leads to more transfer portal stuff. So again, the first portal class, you kind of fill the holes in. The second one, that's when you have some results to back up what you're preaching. So we'll see there. And he even admitted today too that maybe they didn't get all the guys in the transfer portal that he wanted. And he kind of cracked a joke that, as a first-year head coach, maybe he would have lobbied for a second portal window in May so that he could fill out the roster a little bit more, and he doesn't have that that benefit now. He mentioned at Tulane they had a massive hole at corner after the first portal window, and so they added 2 guys in the second portal window who were lower ranked guys but were available, and now those 2 guys are in the NFL. I have the names. Jonathan Edwards and Michael Robinson were 2 guys that they added in that second portal window that they were able to take advantage of. So he even talked about, I don't have that advantage anymore. So, we're not done recruiting guys who are still in the portal, but the guys that we have now, we have to develop them. There is no adding in May. So it's gut check time. He said about the portal class, you never really fully know until you go into spring practice and get in the season. We had some areas of need that we fulfilled. I think we had some areas where we need to figure out where we're at. You never really know. And then he talked about the Tulane example. We don't have the luxury of that second window now, so that's a bit more daunting. I'm not going to have the opportunity to watch this team in practice and go correct it in the second portal. We just got to watch them practice and try to fix it or make somebody get better or move guys around. That's the traditional way of college football before this portal stuff happens. So it's kind of refreshing, a little nerve-wracking, I think that it's a good thing for college football, but it's kind of a little exciting too if you think about it. Like if you get past the being pissed off that you maybe didn't get the guy that you wanted, or you missed out on keeping a guy, you kind of go into some excitement or uncertainty that we have something to talk about in May about a position group that may not be as highly touted as we thought it was going to be. There's some uneasiness there, and that can be an exciting thing too. And I think that's exciting for him that we have an opportunity to really develop guys early and not have to worry about replacing them because we can't replace them. So it's gut check time with the guys that we have. Let's see what happens. So it's interesting, and I think that's cool that he kind of addressed that too. That hey, I don't get the second window. Let's build with what we got.
Transparency seems to be a trend with Sumrall. Not afraid to tell you how he's feeling or what he's thinking, and that's a very good point. That we never really attacked it. We being Florida, but prior that second portal as much. Obviously, Elijah Badger came through that portal, but think about even Tennessee, right? Without that second portal window, they don't get Joey Aguilar. So a lot of teams had success of getting a second shot at it. Now, like you said, there are still people that are in the portal that they can sign later on if they're kind of, if they don't get picked up, they're still there. They just don't have the opportunity to reset essentially or push somebody out, right? They're kind of stuck with what they've got. So it will force them. Everyone's running to this same attribute, but like he said, and especially with the first season, you don't know what you really have till practice starts. I mean, he can talk guys, watch film, do all those things, but there is a lot of guessing. And to hear him say, like, because we as fans, we've looked at around and we take a look at this roster, we have questions ourselves on certain areas. And, and I wonder what he feels that they missed on and they feel that they did well on. It'd be interesting if he'd ever open up about that. I doubt he would. I don't think he'd be like, yeah, our D-line sucks.
Yeah, yeah. I was going to say, like, of all the position groups, I think when you look at the one that you go, okay, we'll see what happens, is the defensive line, because Mekhi Barrow transferring out, and Brian Taylor Jr. is an interesting one because it's a JUCO waiver. I don't think he has yet. I think he's waiting on.
Yeah.
So
he
but
could
he
come
was
back.
An experienced guy who kind of broke out. So we'll see. But I also think that this is why you recruit high school guys. It's gut check time for Joseph Mbachu and Mekhi Barrow. It's a big opportunity for a guy like Jamari Lyons who's in his last year of eligibility. You didn't recruit Brendan Bett out of the portal last year. I'm speaking as Florida's old staff, but even Gerald Chapman, because he's still here. You didn't go after Brandon Bett in the portal last year and then work to retain him this year just to
Go
not
get somebody
play
else.
him, right?
Yeah.
It may the portal additions may not have been as exciting, but the guys that are still there, you brought them here for a reason, and then you kept them here for a reason. Let's see what these guys can do. But I also agree that the additions in that spot are maybe a little underwhelming. Would have been nice for them to add an experienced guy who can come in right away, like a Cam Jackson, or even a guy like Caleb Banks, who he's got the size. We'll see what happens when he plays early, and they didn't. I don't think that they really did that. So we'll see. I think that's going to be the main position group of focus outside of how does the quarterback battle go. But that's probably the one that I see the most of on social media and everything. Like the D line, and it's questionable, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, it will be fun to watch, and we'll have plenty, like you said, plenty to talk about, and we'll go over. And I'm excited. It's always fun to, and you and I, we've kind of built our relationship through this, and we followed it along, and it's gonna be fun because I'll ask you the question. You'll know it's coming. Hey, what's the difference that you're seeing from last year to this year? And I think it's going to be another major change to what you've seen, and I think that change always causes excitement and optimism, and I feel from what we've seen thus far, I mean, just based on the interviews you've had, like you said, you've had 2 interactions with them, and it's been a night and day difference. And even this weekend, the junior weekend, the response that's coming from recruits seems to be a different type of buzz. We got a super chat here from Gator. It says, $10. Cam, despite the loss, how was its atmosphere inside the O-Dome today? We could hear cheering at times all the way from Frat Row. Seemed electric.
It was incredible. It from start to finish, this is the best atmosphere that they've had all season.
Wow.
And listen, they've had a lot of. Dang, you're interrupting me, big dog.
I don't know where that's coming from.
It's
scared.
It's
I
the
thought that was you.
It's
I
crazy.
thought that was you.
They heard you. But they, from start to finish, and Sumrall praised them too when he spoke to the crowd that he got to football ops at 6 a.m. and there was a line out to University Avenue when he got there, and you could see it was electric from start to finish. A lot of credit to the crowd today in the O-Dome, the Rowdy Reptiles from start to finish. Even when Florida was down 18 early in the second half, but every bucket they were back in it. Again, it's a shame that they didn't necessarily take advantage of it. They lost to a really good Auburn team. Record's better than it shows, and they made the winning plays. But this crowd, there's a reason that they hadn't lost a game in the O-Dome for 375 days until tonight. It was incredible atmosphere tonight.
Yeah, it was tough to watch them go down. I thought they could win out. I said it on the show the other day. I go, look, I think they can win out. This Auburn team's going to be tougher than it looks on paper because the Auburn team was starting to find a little bit of a rhythm. And defensively, they forced us into our comfort zone, our uncomfort zone, which is shooting threes and not being able to get into a rhythm, right? When I see Thomas Houck having the most points, that we're having a bad night because it's starting to rely on him. And
That's
I think
fair.
that they've showed that blueprint early on. When he's doing well, everyone else has gone quiet, and that doesn't. I mean, we want Thomas Houck to do well, but if he's the only one doing it, you realize pretty quickly that the rest of the team is a bit deflated.
And give credit to Auburn too. They had a great game plan for stopping Alex Condon. I mean, he only got 4 shots up today, and I think 2 of them were 3-pointers.
The guy's got to stop shooting threes.
And that is
take his kneecaps out.
I agree. I agree. It's just no more shooting threes for him. But that's a preseason All-American, a potential lottery pick in the NBA draft if things go right, and Auburn shut him down. Could not get anything going in the paint. So give Stephen Pearl and they've got a new team. I think they only have one guy from last year's team who's back. Give them a lot of credit, man. They had a good game plan tonight, and they got it done.
Big win for him, no doubt. Cam, I appreciate you, man. Courtside, coming in boots on the ground as always, giving us. This is our Cam Parker season, boys. So maybe we'll get your boss on here sometime. But this is where we really get to snuggle up with Cam during this time of the year. We've got obviously baseball coming up this week, like you mentioned earlier on before the cast. We'll obviously have plenty of spring ball and recruiting to talk about. Hopefully the boys make another run in March Madness, so we're talking about them long into the season. It's a good time to be a Gator fan and talk a lot of things sports. Tell them where they give you a follow, mate, so they can keep up with all the good juice that's going on right now.
Yeah, I'm on X at Cam Parker 25. Breaking news: Hey Fawcett, Amari Nugent has committed to Florida. Break out the spacesuit, Shelton.
No way.
It just broke. I just got the notification. You can
serious?
celebrate tonight now.
Let's
go, Hayes Fawcett
bro.
just tweeted it. The
Let's
notification
go.
just popped up. I think that's my first time getting to break some news on the show.
Yeah, that was like Adam Schefter type shit. That was sick, bro.
So reset everything we talked about. They have the one commit to start it off. It's a great grab too for Florida, man. That is a great start for the defensive side. And again, the way that these visits have gone, because again, this is not the first junior weekend. They've had a couple before this. They're not done necessarily adding more until the summer, and then you have the official visit season from May until July. So we'll see, but I think that this is the first of what could be a very big offseason for recruiting, even without coaching and playing a game for John Sumrall.
Incredible. The 6'1" 180 cornerback has chose the Gators over Georgia and Indiana. That's going to be interesting to see. Is that over Indiana name starting to be in the conversation a little bit, even though they don't think they recruit, but I think they'll start playing around here.
They got that Cuban money. They'll start playing around a little bit more. They got a little fancy now that they have a natty.
They do. I love it. Obviously, Coach John's watching the show. Listen, just gave a quick little phone call. Said, hey, we need a breaking news here. Cam Parker's on the line. As we were getting ready to let him go, he said, no. Go ahead and drop the Nugent, if you will. So Amari Nugent, again, a top 150 player. Wherever you're looking, he's 103 or 107 on 247, 170 on 3. So you take the average. I'm saying a top 150 recruit, top 15 in his position at that cornerback room. again, a great first start, and I love the fact that they were able to get one on what is such a massive weekend. Could we see more, you think, on top of this, or was this kind of one that was leaning heavily? We mentioned at the beginning of the show, we'll kind of recap it here a little bit because it just happened. Brandon Harris, who was the assistant that we snatched away from FSU, is being tied to this being a big connection in his recruiting ties down in South Florida, which is a big win, not only for Coach Sumrall in his first big weekend, but on top of Brandon Harris, which is one of our new assistants that are on the team as well.
I mean, anything could happen. You never truly know. I think this one was a little bit more expected because, shout out Corey Bender and Blake Alderman and Keith and Tyler Harden and Andrew Spivey and all those guys who have been covering the junior days. And listen, sitting outside of the football facility waiting for 17 to 18-year-olds to talk to is not always the most fun thing to do. And all of them do a great job. So a lot of credit to those guys. But, I think Corey put on his boards earlier something about, they heard a big name that could possibly commit, and then shortly after the Fong bomb came in for this kid. So this one wasn't necessarily unexpected, but I think that you could see more. Anything's on the table. Again, they're doing the right things with these visits, and we'll see which kids are ready to jump, and we'll see which kids Florida's ready to take. And now we play the long waiting game until December of you got to keep this kid now for 11 months because he committed on January 15th and signing days maybe December 5th or something like that. So we'll see what these 11 months hold, but I like this grab. It is a very good first start. We'll see what happens, and if they can add any more until spring ball when they have more unofficial visits, and then after that going into the summer with OV season.
Yeah, I'm trying to get to his huddle here if I can, but look, I think what I have noticed, it's been nice to see guys committing early and sticking to those commitments. We didn't see a ton of flips last year, and I don't know if it's due to them signing contracts earlier on. You're able to sign guys much sooner than before. That was a rule that passed last year, and I spoke to that heavily. I was like, I think it's going to play a big factor in us retaining our class more than people realize. So I would be surprised if we lost him, honestly. And I know that sounds crazy to say. I know it's very early, but there has been a trend in college football. That's all that I'm going to say. And things have gone, and this isn't like a filler spot, right? This is a top 150 kid. This is a very good pickup, and this is somebody you push out, if you will. Now, can somebody come in and maybe offer some more cheddar? Obviously, that always plays a factor. But again, it's early on. I'm fired up. I'm hyped up that we're getting commits in the middle of shows. I mean, this is John. Listen. I think the spacesuit might have to get retired. We've talked about this. I'm not even quite prepared.
Go ahead. I was going to say we're not dropping sunglasses emojis anymore, are we? So we have to come up with a new thing.
Yeah, I feel like you've got to move on, and it sucks because that was my identity for quite some time. But I feel like it just has a weird taste to it that I can't do it.
To quote John Sumrall, you could always just drop good.
Good.
That's all you need now. Good.
I mean, look, we got the John IV on stat, right? Which is always
yeah.
But again, I think that's also big. I'm not prepared for it on this one. I can't throw the IV in while we're middle of the stream. But I also think IVs, those are got to be top 100 commits. I feel like that has to be in a class of its own because we broke that out for the ball commitment. So I got to work on that. Okay, the seasons move quickly. I don't know how you guys do it.
I can't wait to see what you break out for when they get a 5-star offensive lineman for the first time in 11 years. Maybe like some pre-made pancakes or something like that.
I might go full blown naked. I can't wait to see what you come up with. Just have an apron on, right? And just that's what we're gonna do.
Yeah. No matter what, I trust you to come up with some good ideas. If you got me to do smelling salts at Alma Mater, I'm sure you have some good ideas for recruiting season.
Put a lot of pressure on me. I'm getting old and slow on it. You know what I mean? But look. I would do the calculator, but look, we could take a look and see where this places Florida now in the rankings. It's not going to be much because I do think there are some class schools that have really hit the ground running. But let's see if there is a update on the rankings to see where this puts Florida with only one commit again, which isn't much to write home about just yet. But I hope they can continue on this track and keep the ball rolling here with the one commit. Yeah, you've got USC. Oh, that's last year. Hold on. Let's take a look at 2027. I think Notre Dame's leading the way right now. The Ohio State with 9 commits, Texas Tech with 5, Oklahoma has 13 already. My goodness. They have an average rating of 88.9, so we'll have a little bit higher rating than them with the 1 commit that we got. Florida State has 4 commits currently. Again, I think they base it off of average, right? So Florida, by just the sheer average alone, I think, and he's a 90 ranked player. We'll see where how On3 has him ranked, and that'll give us.
You're batting 1,000 on blue chip recruits with that ratio. You're 1 for 1. That's a good start.
Where it should be. Where it should be. So I'm pretty sure they have him rated as a 9. Rivals has him as a 90. So our average class would be a 90. And again, Rivals goes based off of your average rating. And they have a score. So I guess it's a combination of the two. We'd probably be a top 20 with this 1 commit. I could be wrong. Oh, nope, there we are. We're not ranked. We have 1 4-star. It's in there with a 90.67. We don't have enough for us to be qualified. I respect that. So maybe
to quote John Sumrall, you haven't earned a damn thing. To quote the new ball coach, you got to earn it.
It looks like
4 class. That was the class, of course, that fell apart at the end. But yeah, that was probably his best recruiting class. I think the one that he was building this year, had they not gone 4-8, was trending to be his best one, and then he got fired mid-season. So it's interesting to look back on all that stuff too. But again, this is a great. I think we also got to give credit to John Sumrall. He added that Dylan Purter from he was a 4-star safety on signing day.
Yeah.
So that was technically his first, but if you want to talk about the first commit of his first actual class, this is a very, very good start for him.
Would have loved an offensive lineman, just to kind of make a point. But we'll take it.
You're selfish. To quote Brian Kelly, you're selfish. You're ungrateful, and you need to check your ego.
I am. Well, Cam, we'll let you go now. That rightfully so. I'm glad that you got to Adam Schefter to this thing and break this news on here. That was awesome. That was a great way to close it. Tell me where they can find you though for any more breaking news, my man.
I can't help always with the breaking news like that. Again, shout out to first off Hayes Fawcett for having that edit ready, and again, I mentioned all the recruiting guys. They've been doing a lot of great work during these visits, man, and I give them a lot of credit. But yeah, on Twitter at CamParker25, on SI, so si.com/college/Florida. We'll have some Sumrall content up in the coming days about the presser. And then spring ball opens March 3rd. QB battle, that was something that he talked about today as well. So I'll have something about what he said on the site soon, and then we'll see what happens. He did say it's going to be a quarterback battle. Aaron Philo has not won the job just by being a Buster Faulkner recruit. Tramel Jones will be competing for the starting spot, so I think that's going to be very exciting to watch. A recruit from Jacksonville that everyone really wanted, that they flipped from Florida State, and a hand-picked recruit from Buster Faulkner who kind of knows his coaching style and his system. It's going to be an exciting recruiting battle, an exciting quarterback battle. So I can't wait to kind of get out there and see what they let us see, kind of overanalyze as much as we can, and then, see what happens by the time the regular season comes around.
Love it. Nice little nugget to tune in for on Cam Parker's article. We talked about that. So Cam, I appreciate you, man. Be good, be safe, and we'll see you soon, I'm sure.
Yes, sir. We'll see you guys next time.
Go Gators, man. Cam Parker from Sports Illustrated, ladies and gentlemen. Be sure to give him a follow, smash the like button, subscribe, all that good jazz to his channel as well. Great news here for the Florida Gators. Great day outside of, if they could have beat Auburn, it could have been a fantastic day. Me and the little man and the wifey had a phenomenal day, and he kept saying, best day ever, Dad. We had an awesome day today. So it really could have been the best day ever, all things considered. Also, make sure you guys go give our High Top Sports Baseball channel a follow. It's growing. It's over 150 subs, almost 200. Love to get that thing to 1,000 as soon as possible. Hit that first milestone for that channel. So we got our guy David over there taking the cake and doing a phenomenal job, hitting the ground running, covering all things Florida baseball. You guys have been asking for it. Now you got it. He's going to be all on the ball with it all season long, doing watch parties, all that great jazz. So really excited to work alongside him and grow that channel. And if you guys are sick of hearing from me, I won't be doing much on that. That's going to be his baby. So you'll get a nice little different flavor and taste from a High Top Sports perspective. This just the thing's growing. We got High Top Sports NASCAR. If you guys want to go give that a follow as well. We are growing here, ladies and gentlemen. It's no thanks to all of you guys supporting the channel, smashing the like button, doing all those great things. Love that we were able to get a nice little commit here on the show. That was great stuff there on this beautiful Saturday night. Now it is time in 15 minutes due for Pate to bash some heads in. So smash it, like it, do all the good stuff. We'll see you guys. I'm sure we'll see you soon. So turn the bell on. You don't want to miss it. Peace and love, baby.
It's Hot Top Sports.